Welcome to this edition of Like Nobody's Business. I'm Mary Beth Sewald, President and CEO of the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce. One of the issues that is on the top of everybody's mind these days is education, K through 12. Here to talk to us today is the brand new Superintendent of Clark County Schools, Clark County School District, Dr. Jesus Jara. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here, Mary Beth. I'm
Thanks.
excited to be here.
Thanks for being here. So you're 7 months on the job.
7 months. I'm still new, honeymoon period. I think I can, utilize that for at least a few more months, but yeah, brand new.
So I know you've been on a listening tour. You've really been talking to a lot of folks trying to find out what the thoughts are in the community. Tell us a little about what you've learned so far.
Yeah, no, my first 90 days, I spent a lot of time just really listening to everybody about some of what their needs are, and I'll tell you, it was pretty honest. The community was pretty honest of what some of the challenges and really one of the things is that I'm working on is, after listening is just a public trust of the school system. But, one of the other things is that they all love their school. Really, it's just, they said our teachers, our principals are great. It's just, CCSD, the school system. So, we have a perception issue that needs to be addressed as an entire system with myself and the board to really work together as one for our children. That's number one. And I'll tell you, this community for me, has been phenomenal. Just the welcome, the excitement that I feel from everybody in this community, from the parents, the administrators, the teachers, the business community. Everybody is really excited about the possibilities that we have, which then energizes me to do my job.
I know that graduation rates and retention have been kind of top of mind. Yeah. What are some of your plans regarding retention and graduation rates for the schools?
Yeah, no, that's a great segue from what I just released in my State of the Schools a couple weeks ago. It's really we just approved an agreement with NSHE, our higher ed institution, to really address the remediation and then also increase some of the dual credit and advanced placement college credits and in the workforce. So one of the efforts is just really for us increasing the quality of our graduates, right? It's a huge impact for the business community overall. That I want my kids, when they leave our high schools, that they're ready not only to go into the workforce, but also go ready for college ready without eliminating their remedial courses.
You talked about your state address the other day, and I was actually there, and you talked a lot about your Focus 2024 program. You're very proud of that, I think, and it's a 5-year plan to turn CCSD around. Can you tell us a little about some of the main points of that plan?
Absolutely. Well, Focus 20, we're putting a lot of things in place around student achievement, right? We have huge gaps. And that's the reality, right? We're looking at, we have great schools, but not for all kids. So equity, to me, is something that is critical there for every single child, no matter where they live, what school they go to, where they come from, have a high quality education. So professional development for the adults. That means our teachers, our principals have to be the best of the best. So we need to invest in our human capital. The other piece is really our efficiencies and our operations, right? We run a $2.4 billion organization. So where do we then save some money in our operations that we can drive costs? One of the things that I am proud of that we're putting together is really holding all chiefs accountable in our operations around students. And that means my CFO, my operations officer, my HR, communications and engagement, really all tied to student success, because that's what we have jobs. We have jobs to educate children. So, creating some of those efficiencies that we need to be able to drive some of the dollars into the classrooms. One of the things that we, and as I released in the State of the Schools, we had a Council of Great City Schools. We're a member of the Council of Great City Schools, 74 urban districts across the country, and they took a deep dive in our operations, and they provided about 100 pages worth of recommendations. Again, opportunities that we need to then improve in our efficiencies to drive money into the classrooms.
Were there some specifics about those efficiencies that we can improve?
Yes, absolutely. Transportation was one that they are really, and they're going to come back and do a deep dive in transportation. They felt that there's some excessive, there's opportunities for us to cut some efficiencies in transportation, and then construction and maintenance as well.
So some of the problems, it's just mechanics with the school buses operating, correct?
Right.
And then the drivers as well.
Correct. The driver shortage is one, and then some of the other issues that we're looking at is the maintenance of the driver. So it was very pointed and honest, which is always good, because then you always look at it and how do then we get better. And that's a piece that now we're including that into our strategic plan. So then you look at some of those details that we're excited to start putting forward.
Sounds good. I know that there's a teacher shortage as well, and that's something that you've talked about as well. And there's a shortage that exists here in Clark County. So, how is CCSD working with UNLV and Nevada State College on the teacher shortage?
No, we're looking at building a great pipeline. I mean, that's where we get most of our teachers are from UNLV. So then, how do we then build that pipeline from internally, which is one of the things that we're looking at. We have four academies. How do we expand? I said to the Nevada State College president, I need one in every high school. When you're hiring so many teachers, we have 400 vacancies right now, is how do we then build our own? Nationally across the board, when you look at the data, it's very clear that not many folks are going into education. So then how do we then entice our young people to then be, great career, and how do you impact lives? So that's one of the things that we're looking at doing, and then bringing them into, obviously, UNLV. The other thing is be more targeted in our recruiting efforts. And why do we go to some states where we're only bringing 7 teachers, right? So let's go to where we can get the mass of more teachers that can come into CCSD. And then a big effort that we're including in a strategic plan is really around retention, professional development, and support. I've surveyed our teachers here as we're getting ready for legislative session, is what is your number one priority? Support in the classroom, meaning instructional materials, and meaning assessment data. What do we can provide from the district? And then lower class size, which was really, to me, has become a priority. But that is something that is a multi-pronged approach, because then if you get money, then you got to hire more teachers. Where are you going to put them? So it's really around more adult on campus to then support our teachers.
And we're going to talk more about funding in just a moment, because I know that's something that's really important to you. But first, I would like to know, what excites you most about working here at CCSD?
Well, first of all, and I say this all the time, I love my job. I get up in the morning and I'm so excited to come in to work, because our children are precious. But this community, the entrance that I've had in this community and the warm welcome has been phenomenal, unmatched. And then the people I'm working with, really, I have high expectations for kids, but I think a lot of the folks that I'm working with are really excited about where we're going, and they're committed to help us.
And likewise, I got to ask you the flip side of that question. What keeps you up at night?
Safety of our kids, because now our children are facing so many challenges at home. And they're facing adult issues, and then in some cases they don't know how to deal with them, and then you're seeing what's happening, the anxiety of our kids. I think the safety of my kids in our schools is what keeps me up at night, and making sure that when I go back to my days as a father, I always wanted to make sure that they were going to be taken care of, and now the world has changed for the kids, and so that's what we have to find ways to enforce, improve our police officers and everything else, but in a way that we can help kids make sure that they are part of our community and are here to help you.
Is there anything in particular that CCSD is doing to keep the kids a little safer?
Well, we started, after we had a tragedy in one of our high schools, and we started doing some random searches, screenings, if you will. We're not going in and searching as they're walking in by the administrators. And, I received a lot of positive feedback from our kids. Our kids in our student advisory said, Superintendent, they really felt, even though they're random, they don't know when it's coming, but it keeps them thinking. So, positive feedback. We just last week swore in 4 police dogs and for K9, and they're to really search for firearms. So we're going to use them as part of our toolbox. But I think those are some of the immediate things. We just started sharing more of our data with our public, where we're seeing some of the hot spots, so then we can be more strategic in how do we help. But then, so right as I was coming in, we started looking at our social justice partnership as well with our entire community, to really provide interventions for our kids. Because it's not about suspending them, throwing them out, because then if not, they go out into the street. Yeah. It's how do we change their behavior, keeping them engaged in our schools.
And some of them come from broken homes and drugs, and all kinds of other problems, so that makes it difficult as well.
It is, and that's why you have to bring in the harbor, you have to bring in some of the community partners to help us.
All right. The 2019 legislative session is right around the corner. Will you stay with us to talk about that?
Absolutely.
All right, like I said, the legislative session is next on the agenda, and funding is a top priority. We'll talk about the Nevada plan up next and why the superintendent says it needs a complete overhaul. Up next.
Life's journey isn't just about what happens. At Nevada State Bank, we believe it's about who it happens with. The people who are there for I Do and for Welcome Home. The people who are there for your growing business. And the ones who are there for a lifetime. For every moment of life's journey, the people of Nevada State Bank are here for you. Because it matters who you spend life's moments with. And it matters who you bank with. Nevada State Bank.
This is the story of two businesses. Andy made a lemonade stand and hoped people would come. Jill did too, but she chose a team to get the word out about her lemonade stand. Jill learned early that advertising with the right team gets the best results. At Cox Media, we do this every day, helping your business grow to meet its potential. With our marketing expertise, Cox Media is your partner for advertising success. Don't let your business get left behind. Let's grow your business together. Contact Cox Media today.
I'm Jim Pisanelli, partner and co-founder of Pisanelli Vice, and I referred Todd Vice to City National Bank.
Jim had a pre-existing relationship with the bank. When I began to discuss financial needs, principally in the sort of wealth management realm, Jim put me in contact with someone there that he already trusted. One of the wealth management executives came up from Los Angeles and put the package together for me, made recommendations, and we've been moving forward ever since then.
Remember old Vegas where the customer was king? The Casablanca in Mesquite is just like Vegas used to be. Play over 40 of your favorite table games.
Play over 800 slot and video poker machines and get comps, free play, and cash back.
Get away and play 2 18-hole championship golf courses. Or pamper yourself in our full-service salon and unwind in our world-class spa. Now this is my kind of getaway. Reserve your $99 golf or spa getaway today. It's just like Vegas used to be.
Welcome back to Like Nobody's Business. I'm Beth Sewald. We are here today with our guest, Clark County School Superintendent, Dr. Jesus Jara. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you for having me.
School funding is on the top of the list for 2019, I think, right? We've
Yes.
talked a little about the Nevada plan. It was started in 1967, so it's not the newest plan. Tell us what your thoughts are about the Nevada plan.
Well, yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think one of the things that we need to really look at is, when people ask, and I start asking questions, they say, well, what is it that you don't like? And I said, well, my response is, well, how's it working for us? So if it's not working, let's start looking at it. But a couple things. So 1967 to 2019, our community has changed. You really look at changing the entire complexity of how our kids come to school now, how we're supposed to teach. So it's just really something that I believe, when you start looking at our children's, our needs, our kids' needs, something that I think it needs to, in some cases, start over. And how are other states doing, funding education? And to me, that's a core issue that needs to be addressed. That is the core issue, because I think the legislature, and I know the chamber was supportive the last two sessions, adding more money into public education, which is really great. But I think those have been some technical changes. And I say that because, it was an effort to bring more money back into our schools, public schools, but with some categorical funding that, and as I shared with the chamber, we haven't seen the results right now. We own some of that responsibility. And as I said in my State of the Schools, I didn't create the problem, but I own it and we're going to fix it. So those are things that, to me, on the funding, let's fix the formula. Let's fix the core issue before we start talking about adding more money, because I think what happens, it'll still continue to go out, like I shared, it'll go out of the leaky bucket.
That's true. We've talked a lot about a weighted funding plan. What would a weighted funding formula do to fix the Nevada plan?
Well, I think when you start looking at the weighted funding formula, is you start getting more money where the kids, the money follows the kids. So for example, as I was an ELL student, right? I came in, I learned to speak English in this country. So we have so many of those kids like that here. They cost you a little bit more money because there's extra classroom, where there's smaller class size, whether it's extra days. So that the ELL student, you have the student that's got special needs, right? So we have some of our children that are in some of our special schools that there's maybe 6, 7 kids with 3 adults. That kid in that school, in that classroom, we get the same funding of a student taking 5 AP classes. There's different needs. And to me, that's where you start looking and saying, so schools that have a high percentage of intense students, then those schools should get more money. So it's a money following the kids. And that concept, I think we're the only state that has this outdated plan to us and Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the funding issues, what are some of your concerns about funding capital improvements as well?
Well, as this past weekend, we saw an article in the paper. We have huge needs. When we're looking at our buildings. The schools that we started building 20 years ago, now you have some infrastructure issues that are starting to, were not maintained because we just didn't have the money. I think we're about a $6 billion shortage. So it's not just building new schools, but it's also going back to our deferred maintenance, which I have huge concerns. That's why I go back to my review with the Council of Great City Schools, right? It's really to look at how do we improve, because I think we have to do a really good job of the public trusting us with the money, so then they can say, here's some of the greatest needs that we have. But deferred maintenance, our HVAC units, are some of our infrastructure underneath as well. Huge concerns.
So you talk a lot about getting the public to trust again. What are some tangible things that you plan to do to earn the public's trust in that regard?
So, and transparency. I've been transparent coming in. I share the data and say, here's where we are, but here's how we're going to get there, and here's how we're going to fix the problem, and then come back and report to the public, to the board. Once I as I shared with my cabinet this morning, once we move into the strategies of the strategic plan, we start the execution, and then addressing and sharing our outcomes with the public. I have high goals because our children will come up and meet our goals, right? Just like our own kids at home, they do that. They meet our expectations. We're going to work hard. Am I going to meet all our goals? Absolutely not. Probably not. But we're going to set high bar. But and then we're going to be honest with the public and say, here's where the money is going. Be more transparent with the community, and here's what we're doing.
We've talked a lot already about the legislative session. It's going to be a busy year for all of us. Tell us a little bit more about some of your legislative priorities for CCSD and how the business community can engage.
Yeah, no, thank you. Well, the funding formula, and I'm going to tell you the Nevada plan, that is to me the core. And I think that is fundamentally something that we need to start over. Get a new piece of paper and start drawing it up, right? That's number one. Number two is really the weighted funding formula for students. And then so we can start seeing where the money is going so it follows the kids. Those are my top 2 priorities. Obviously, and I've been in conversations with the governor, so there's some alignment there, at least from my end, when you look at, investing in the adults. Your teachers, your support professionals. What does that look like? It's providing the support systems for them to do their job. It could be, lowering class size, instructional materials. I mean, we have not invested in professional development for the adults. I mean, you look at corporations and organizations, you invest in your people. 80+% of your budget is your people. We have to do a better job as a school system investing in the adults.
Yeah, I know we talk a lot about the funding and for the teachers and getting high quality teachers and so forth. And then we hear stories like Governor Sisolak tells a story where he ran across a teacher in a Costco and she had a cart full of breakfast bars. And so we hear that story a lot where teachers will buy food for the kids because they can't learn if they're hungry. So are there specifics that we can look forward to or things that the business community could do to help in that regard as well?
Well, one of the things that we're looking at, and I know that the governor in his state address, he also talked about increasing that funding. We certainly support that as well, right, for the teachers, for the supplies. And that goes back into what I have in investing in the adults and teacher working conditions, because that gets into some of those instructional materials that we have the obligation to provide. So I would say, that's one of the things that as we proceed moving forward, we need to work on together. And my team, and we have it in our legislative platform that the board has adopted. So that's certainly that's in a great partnership with the community. The other thing that I'm also tying into in my strategic plan, it's really an opportunity in our community engagement where our business partners can say, hey, superintendent, I see that there's a gap here. Well, now you have a roadmap where there's some support possibilities to provide that opportunity for us. Because right now what I'm hearing also is that you have schools individually going from school to school asking the business community, and there's no ROI that way, right? So at least this way we can then tie it to a strategic plan for the entire school system.
In the business community, we hear a lot about unfunded mandates, and we know what that means related to the business community. But tell us a little about what that means for education.
Well,
for the school district,
yeah,
absolutely.
Well, we're looking at there's some things that come down the pike from the State Department of Education, obviously through legislature, and then it's about taking the same amount of money we get and then mandating, and then it takes time. So those are some of the things that we're analyzing right now. For example, there's a few bills that the State Department has out there that we're certainly working through the process right now to make sure that we either fix them up or continue to give me the authority. For example, there's one, where the State Department in turnaround schools where they'll have the ability to remove a principal. Well, that's why I'm hired as a superintendent. That is my responsibility. So there's some of those things that are going through that I'm working through with the State Department of Education and making sure that I'm held accountable for who I put in my schools.
Dr. Jara, thank you so much for being with us today. You know that the Chamber has always been a staunch supporter of CCSD, and we're here to help you however we can.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Coming up next, we'll take you to the best kept secret in Southern Nevada, maybe the entire state, right after this. Welcome back to this edition of Like Nobody's Business. I'm Beth Sewald with the Las Vegas Metro Chamber. You might be wondering why we are standing here in robes. Lauren, tell us where we are.
We are in Southern Nevada's best kept secret, the Casablanca Spa and Salon. There's a little bit of everything for everyone here. So make a reservation today and start peppering yourself tomorrow.
Come and indulge yourself in the relaxation, tranquility, and sounds of the world-class spa and salon at Casablanca. The spa is just a short drive from the city, so grab your girlfriends or that special someone and make a day of pampering a priority. Whether you're in the mood for a massage, facial, pedicure, or manicure, or you simply just want to lay peacefully poolside with a beverage in hand. The salon and spa at the Casablanca has you covered from head to toe. Pampering never felt this good. Recharge your body and soul while choosing a signature full body massage, such as a Casablanca Trio. Exfoliate, hydrate, and soothe. You're guaranteed to fall in love here at the Spa of Casablanca.
It's clear that the Casablanca Spa and Salon is doing business like nobody's business. And if you're doing business like nobody's business and you want to be featured on our show, reach out to me at likenobodiesbusiness@lvchamber.com.
Thanks so much, Lauren. What a great day at the spa at the Casablanca.
Life's journey isn't just about what happens. At Nevada State Bank, we believe it's about who it happens with. The people who are there for I do and for welcome home. The people who are there for your growing business. And the ones who are there for a lifetime. For every moment of life's journey, the people of Nevada State Bank are here for you. Because it matters who you spend life's moments with. And it matters who you bank with. Nevada State Bank.
This is the story of two businesses. Andy made a lemonade stand and hoped people would come. Jill did too, but she chose a team to get the word out about her lemonade stand. Jill learned early that advertising with the right team gets the best results. At Cox Media, we do this every day, helping your business grow to meet its potential. With our marketing expertise, Cox Media is your partner for advertising success. Don't let your business get left behind. Let's grow your business together. Contact Cox Media today.
for watching this edition of Like Nobody's Business, and please remember these upcoming events. The Morning Mingle on February 5th at Macy's Downtown Summerlin. Focus Las Vegas on how K-12 funding works and will take place on February 21st. Eggs and Issues featuring Congressman Mark Amodei on February 22nd. And finally, applications are now open for our leadership programs. Leadership Las Vegas, Leadership Advance, and Access Las Vegas are each wonderful opportunities for you and your employees to learn more about our community and to enhance your leadership skills. To learn more, please go to our website, Leadership Foundation website at leadership.vegas. I'd like to give a very special thank you to our presenting sponsor, Nevada State Bank, our location sponsor, Mesquite Gaming, and to our special guest, Dr. Jesus Jara of the Clark County School District. We'll see you next time on Like Nobody's Business.